Okay, we're back. Since it's sine squared divided by cosine squared, I have a tangent squared here. Here I've got cosine squared of x divided by cosine squared of x. That's going to be 1. And 1 divided by cosine squared is going to give me secant squared x. So here's a different way to write the same formula. Maybe more useful in certain contexts. Let's try this again, but now dividing by the sine function instead. I'm going to start by writing sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x equals 1. Remember that. And dividing everything by sine squared now will give me a new identity. Sine squared divided by sine squared is going to be 1. Cosine squared divided by sine squared, this might be a little bit less familiar. This is the cotangent function. And again, it's going to be squared. And what is 1 divided by the sine function? That's the cosecant function. So we have a version of this formula for sine and cosine. We have a different version for tangent and secant. And then we have a third variation for cotangent and cosecant. The other formula we're going to be seeing a lot of is the double angle formula. So the double angle formula tells us ways to rewrite cosine of 2x and sine of 2x. There's a couple different versions of these, including versions for tangent, cotangent, and all the others. But I'm going to focus on 2 of them. The first is going to be a way to rewrite cosine squared of x. This will be equal to 1/2 of 1 plus the cosine of 2x. Now, it's called the double angle formula because here I'm concerned with cosine of twice of my angle x. But it's going to be most useful in replacing cosine squared of x. So this is the reason I've written it out this way. The sine function has a version of this as well. Sine squared of x is 1/2 1 minus cosine of 2x. Now, when I'm using these formulas on a day-to-day basis, I don't want to be trying to reprove the formula every single time. So how do I remember these things? I know that I have the square of my trig function equals 1/2 of 1 and a cosine of 2x. The question is, of these formulas, which has the plus sign and which has the minus sign? That's the only difference between the 2 of these formulas. And I like to remember this by knowing that sine of 0 is 0, cosine of 0 is 1. So in my sine formula, I've got a 1/2, which is not 0. That means I need the stuff in parentheses to be 0 if x equals 0. So my cosine of 2 times 0 is equal to 1. This had better be a minus sign because sine of 0 is 0. Let me go ahead and write that out. I'd be saying that 0 squared equals 1/2 of 1. And if I'm not remembering, this could be plus or this could be minus. Cosine of 2 times 0 is 1. So this must be the minus. So this is my sine formula. I'll do the same thing up here. I know that cosine of 0 is 1. So cosine squared of 0 is also going to be 1. This is supposed to be equal to 1/2 of 1 combined with a cosine of 2x. And maybe I can't remember which symbol goes here, a plus or a minus. So if I've got a 1, and a cosine of 2 times x is also equal to 1, then to make this formula on the right equal 1, I gotta have a plus.